I was younger, maybe when I was in my early teens, I would go to this skate park by my house, usually like after school. And like while I did skate a little bit, I would honestly just go there to get high, even though it was like way too young to be doing this. But when I did go to the skate park, I was always fiending for validation from the so called cool kids that went there. I always thought that I was just kind of a dorky kid who wasn't as about it, quote unquote, as my friends at the skate park. And they would occasionally treat me like I was that. They weren't outwardly rude to me, at least most of the time, but they would always treat me like the things I was into, the music I liked, etc. That they were all just corny, and they'd let me into their circle just enough for me to want it, but not enough to actually be a part of them. They would be smoking weed, drinking, and even doing hard shit too. And they'd go out on all kinds of adventures that I rarely went along for. I looked up to them for some reason when I was maybe like 12 or 13. Well, fast forward, and most of those guys have completely destroyed their lives. One of them, this black guy, wannabe pro skater, who used to kind of like act like some mentor to me or whatever. You know, he was a lot older than me. This guy ended up being a groomer. He ended up grooming girls at the skate park. And dude, a lot of the other people that I knew at that skate park, they went on to be coke heads. They went on to be homeless. They went on to be, in a lot of legal trouble, just nothing that signaled success. This almost perfectly sums up how I feel about the underground rap community. Music has had a complex history. Humanity has seemingly never been able to decide what the term good music actually means. We've gone from playing archaic instruments made of animal parts to large stringed concerts to big band jazz to rock and roll, all the way to hip hop, eventually trap, and then cloud rap, underground rap. You know, Despite music evolving alongside us, it seems like we've rapidly been like changing our standards and our tastes just in the past 20 to 30 years. Music used to be, in my opinion, it used to be about a group of guys in a basement trying to figure out how to save the world with their brand new rock album. And it would be full personality, full of stories. And the most important thing is it was full of intent. It used to be about representing you and the people around you. But in 2026, we've just thrown that out the window completely. Now, okay, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of artists who make music that stands out, that does seem to have a lot of personality and soul behind it. But at the same time, I feel like the stuff that actually blows up isn't really that unique. I feel like the Bully Man kind of overstimulating rap beat with like a high-pitched voice on top of it, I feel like that's kind of the standard right now. And that's all I really been hearing online. It's either like Bully Man or like Osama Sun or, that type of stuff. And honestly, dude, I'd stop fucking keeping up with all these fucking stupid rappers. Like, there's so many new names that I hear all the time, like Slayer and all this shit. And I probably sound like an old head right now talking about this. But all these new names, I don't know who the fuck they are. I don't have the time to like sit down and listen to their discography. And honestly, I don't really want to. I already kind of know the music that I like. And I really don't only listen to underground rap. I feel like that is a huge problem within this scene, is people just kind of find one or two or three artists they like, and then they don't listen to anything else. Thankfully, not everybody does this, but I feel like we kind of get locked in too much with, the scene and the need to be connected with like new and upcoming artists, so we don't have like fear of missing out or whatever. I think really you should just listen to what you want to. in a day and not let like social expectation factor into that shit at all. Another problem that I have with underground rap is the frequency of kid diddling related problems that keep showing up. I think just about every fucking popular rapper in the past like 4 years that isn't like super mainstream, they always end up having some allegations about them. And then the super mainstream ones like David, they end up having fucking Jeffrey Dahmer level accusations that end up being fully true. So what I think about that is this stupid ass mentality that used to exist within cloud rap. That's what causes like these degenerate fucking terminally online fucking gooner motherfuckers. Like, they get into rapping and shit like that. And if they develop a fan base, they just kind of like jump right into exploiting whatever young girls in their fan base listen to them. Like, and it's just, I think what it is it's the way that SoundCloud rappers used to move, like 6ix9ine and fucking Lil Tracy and shit. They all wanted to be like the mainstream rappers who were always talking about getting girls and having money and all this stuff. Now there's a stigma around underground rap that all the fans, all the rappers, everybody, they're all just PDF files. And at this point, I don't blame outsiders for thinking that way because there's too many examples of this shit happening. And it seems like every new underground rapper that blows up just ends up having allegations follow their name. And the craziest part about it is how many underground fans just stop giving a fuck about it. But clearly, the only way that we're ever going to be able to remove this stain from this music scene is if we all collectively start being hostile towards this behavior. But until we all are actively doing it together, all of us actively being hostile towards this behavior, then people are just going to continue to think it's acceptable and continue to being more and more degenerate over time. Now, another thing about this scene is people use the term crabs in a bucket to describe the overall social. Another thing about this scene that I think needs to be addressed, people are starting to be aware of this. It's basically this scene has turned into what everyone calls a bunch of crabs in a bucket. Um, there are many underground fans, and most of them make music. But if you ever send them music that you've made, they typically have a completely overdramatic reaction and start clowning you for your music. They get their degenerate gooner online buddies to join them in telling you that your music is so bad. They might even tell you that you need to compare that to the underground rap scene of like the 2010s. It's so fucking crazy how far we've fallen from grace. Because in 2010, 2015, whatever, you could make a trash beat on a free software like Soundtrap. You could record your vocals on an old blue snowball microphone that barely works at all. And you could barely mix it, even know how to mix it or like apply effects or any of that stuff. And just upload that shit. And people would tell you it was good. People would support you. You could send it to your friends and they would say, yo, the shit's fucking fire. And even if they didn't like it, it was never as extreme as people are today, where they tell you that you're the worst artist to ever come out, that you need to throw away your music equipment and all this fucking crazy over the top shit designed to just make you feel as bad as possible in the moment for that person's entertainment. But in like 2018, if you dropped a shitty mumble rap song on SoundCloud, either nobody would really know what it was or people would praise you for it because people didn't consider themselves to be such purists and such music, aficionados that if they ever hear something that doesn't sound exactly up to their standard of quality and their idea of what isn't corny, then they just lose their shit on you and try to make you feel as embarrassed as possible for all the hard work you put into your fucking song that they likely don't put into their own music. A lot of these guys either just pay people to mix and master their stuff or they don't even mix and master it at all, but they'll still tell you that your mix and mastering sucks. But that theirs is like 100% worse. Like nowadays, you could work on a beat idea that's been in your head for a long time that you put effort into in a real DAW. You mix and master the beat. You record vocals on it with the best microphone you could find, with the best setup that you could possibly put together. And you put your all into it. You're staying up all night doing take after take after take after take. And then the next day, you spend the entire day mixing and mastering it. And if you go ahead and upload that song to some shitty ass NetSpend server, let me tell you, they're gonna make you feel like your fucking 48 hours of work that you put into this one song was so not worth it. They'll just gaslight you into thinking that none of it's quality, that there's not one redeemable thing behind it. And that's honestly usually not true. One thing that I remember hearing in a YouTube video actually about how to deal with criticism with music is you have to recognize whether or not the criticism is valuable or not. If all a person can say is this is terrible and not give you a reason why, not explain to you a technical problem with your song, or even just try to point out things within your song that you could improve on. If all they're doing is simply just trying to make you feel bad about what you created, then their criticism, one, it isn't valid, but it also really isn't something that you should try to improve based on because their idea of what good music is unattainable. They have an inhuman expectation of what you are supposed to be making. And another thing, you should just make what you want to make. If they think it sucks, then who cares, honestly? And to kind of wrap this all up, I think the reason that the underground rap scene is the way it is today is we have nixed internet culture into underground culture so much that you can't separate the two. Underground rap fans are obsessed with memes and easily triggered into spamming said memes, both online and real life. For example, the Charlie Kirk thing. I think all of you remember that. I don't even really have to explain that one. And speaking of that kind of thing, another thing that I fucking hate about the underground rap community is that they are entirely hostile to anybody who has anything positive to say about the Jewish community. No, I don't think a lot of these malformed edgelord Discord doom scrolling weirdos actually hate Jewish people. Some of them do, especially a lot of the Shed Theory fans, Christ Dillinger fans, and those kind of people that I've interacted with. I think something that kind of showed everybody's true inner self was this whole Nine Vicious situation. Because for the longest time, we've known Nine Vicious to be the Pradiger guy who talked to minors and then bragged about it on the internet. But a little while ago at one of his live shows in Europe, he pulled an Israeli flag from a crowd member who was holding one and started waving it on stage and dancing around. Everybody in the underground world had a fucking seizure heart attack combo as soon as this happened, and Nine's biggest hater, Che, would take the opportunity to get on Twitter and start spanning Free Palestine stuff. And eventually, fans of Che and people who just didn't like Nine Vicious have completely forgotten about Nine's allegations and the real reason we should hate Nine and have just gone full Hitler mode about the Israeli flag being waved. And all this just kind of leads into underground rap fans seem to love mischaracterizing and kind of bullying other cultures that they don't know about. It's not just Jewish people, it's literally all kinds of different cultures, Indians, Muslims, probably others too. But I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up with if you're an underground rap fan, it's probably likely that I wouldn't like you as a person. And I think a lot of you people really need to fix how you act in the world and make people perceive you.